right. So just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. Both feet flat on the floor, about a hip's width apart. If you're not sitting cross-legged, feel the weight and the sensation of your feet on the floor, the backs of your legs on the chair, and your hands in your lap. And then also feel the weight of the pelvis and the sits bones in the chair. And see if you can align your shoulders with your hips and your ears with your shoulders. And imagine your spine is a beautiful string of pearls of light, stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. So now just bring your attention to the crown and release any tension there, and see if you can notice any sensation. So it could be pressure or tingling, or kind of a little buzzing, something like that. Just see if you notice any kind of sensation. And then just release any tension in your face, your eyes, the back of the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the area around the mouth, back of the tongue, the jaw, the temples, the back of the head. And just release any tension in your neck and allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down. And relax the throat and the chest and the belly and all of your limbs. And then just bring your attention to the sensations of the breath as you inhale and exhale. Just notice the sensations around the nostrils. And then move your attention down to your chest cavity. And just notice the lungs or the ribs all expanding as you inhale, the diaphragm drops down. And then as you exhale, everything just kind of comes back in. You might also be aware of the rising and falling of your abdomen as you breathe. And so now bring your attention to any distractions, any potential distractions. Sound is a big one. So if you are hearing any sound, just allow it to be there. Try not to follow with the mind. Try not to go off and investigate. So if you have notifications coming through on your phone, your computer, maybe you didn't turn it all that off, just try not to attend to them. Unless, of course, it's an emergency, but we're so happily distracted. And then bring your attention to what's going on in your mind this evening or this afternoon, today, for those of you in the South Pacific area. So just notice the thoughts as they arise and abide and then dissolve. And then try not to judge what's going on in your mind. You know, we're just so quick to tell ourselves this and that about ourselves that's not necessarily helpful. So try not to follow all those thoughts, that story, and just be objective about what you see in your mind. We're just creating awareness around, these conversations that we have with ourselves. We have the mind is moving all the time. We're not going to stop it, but we can slow it down. We can slow all the thoughts down. We can put space between the thoughts. And we do have the power to control what we actually think. So now bring to mind all the people of your life, your loved ones, your strangers, the ones you don't like even. Just remembering they're all equal. They don't want to suffer. They want to be happy. And they all have this extraordinary capacity for a Buddha mind. So we think we'll do this meditation for all these people of our life, and by extension, all the sentient beings. And for Lou, who's still in his home, I think. I'm not sure if today or tomorrow he's being moved. It doesn't matter anyway. Just think of Lou and wishing him well. And then we start. There is no negativity that can't be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. We create negativity with our mind. So equally, we can change it by creating positivity instead. And we start with the 4 opponent powers. And the first of these is the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason we're regretting is based on this logic of karma. We experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. And so having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of any future suffering we will experience. So it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as suffering for us. So we regret from the depths of our heart, having harmed others with our body and our speech, having broken our vows, because we do not want the future suffering. Just think, I'm sick of suffering. And then just regret our delusions, anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think, I'm just sick of suffering. And so who can I turn to? What can I do about this? And then we come to this power of reliance. And here we turn to the Buddha Vajrasattva, who we see as a doctor, who has methods that we can use to purify. So we're not needing Buddha to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his medicine. So you imagine this image in front of you on the crown of your head. And if that's all too much visualization, just imagine this ball of white light, purifying white light, facing the same direction as you on the crown of your head. And maybe you can imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form. So we just do have a little bit of thought about compassion. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we have harmed, and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly people you've harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we've ever harmed since beginningless time. And then remember those who have harmed you, and particularly have compassion for them, because the harm they've caused you is going to result in suffering for them sometime in the future. And then we come to this power of remedy. And this is the medicine doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Triyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Maha Samaya Sata A Hum Pe. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita, Jita meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Triyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Maha Samaya Sata A Hum Pe. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita, Jita meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Maha Samaya Sata A Hum Pe. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita, Jita meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Triyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Maha Samaya Sata A Hum Pe. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita, Jita meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Triyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Maha Samaya Sata A Hum Pe. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita, Jita meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Triyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Maha Samaya Sata A Hum Pe. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita, Jita meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Maha Samaya Sata A Hum Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think that there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And next is the purification of our speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So you imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking about people behind their backs and getting other people to agree with you. All of this is purified by the powerful nectar filling you as you recite the mantra again. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita, Jita meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Maha Samaya Sata A Hum Pe. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita, Jita meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Maha Samaya Sata A Hum Pe. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita, Jita meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Maha Samaya Sata A Hum Pe. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita, Jita meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan, Stawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Saka A Humpe. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita. Dita Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mebi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me. Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Saka A Humpe. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita. Dita Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Saka A Hum Pe. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita. Adita Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan, Stawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ah Hum. Okay. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified. And imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. And next is the purification of your mind. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So you imagine you've walked into a dark room and you flick on the switch, and then the light instantly comes and dispels the darkness. So it's just like that. The light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, and all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, all your attachment, neediness, bitterness, grudges, anger, jealousy, all of this instantly dispelled, not one atom left as we recite the mantra again. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Saka Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Saka Ah Hum Pe, Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasattva Dina Patita, Dida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Saka Ah Hum Pe, Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasattva Dina Patita, Dida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Saka Ah Hum Pe, Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasattva Dina Patita, Dida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Saka Ah Hum Pe, Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasattva Dina Patita, Dida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Saka Ah Hum Pe, Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasattva Dina Patita, Dida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Saka Ah Hum. Hey. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And think that there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. And next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of our body, speech, and mind. And this time, imagine that Vajrasattva sends light and nectar, and it fills you completely and eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your consciousness. So imagine the nectar flows down, pushing out all the negativity of the body, and then the nectar flows up, pushing out all the negativity of the speech, and then the light comes and just blasts all of the delusions. And this happens all at the same time. And then also you're reciting the mantra at the same time as well. Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mempiyata sawakama sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahum Pe Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sabasidi mempiyata sawa kamasita me, sitam triyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata ahum pe. Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Jida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa sawasidi mempiyata sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata ahum pe Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mempiyata sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata ahum pe Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mempiyata sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata ahum pe Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mempiyata sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata ahum pe Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mempiyata sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata ahum pe. So now feel you're completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to the power of resolve. And this is the fourth and the final step in the purification process. And it's a really crucial one. And this is this determination to refrain from harming with our body and our speech and our mind. And without this, we're just going to keep doing the same old things over and over again, keep making the same old mistakes, following the same old habit patterns. So we just decide, I'd like to refrain from harming, then we want to create some kind of a plan. So think of something that you'd like to work on between now and tomorrow, or now Monday. Now, keep it simple. Maybe just one thing to check in with yourself, maybe a day, a couple of times a day. And then think Vajrasattva is delighted with us, wants to merge with your mind and melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And you think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So think, Lamsa Rinpoche would recommend to meditate on emptiness. So in emptiness, there is no I, the creative negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. and there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, just place your mind there for a little while, even if it's just the word. We can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. You can also think the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy we've created doing this practice to all living beings and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So let's just do our chanting the names of Manjushri, whose handsome crown has sterling sapphires, whose hair has tips of sapphire deep blue, with glory from the light of his great jewel, adorned with emanations of the Buddhas. The shaker of 100 worldly realms, his strength the four miraculous powers, reality with mindfulness supreme, samadhi king of fourfold mindfulness. Infused with scents from bloom on Bodhi's branches, an ocean of Tathagata virtues, with knowledge of the Eightfold Path's true way, with knowledge of the path of perfect Buddhas. Okay, everybody. Let's just have a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long, for a swift return of our precious Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and for Lu to be reborn either in a precious human rebirth or in a pure land. All right. Lots of love, everybody. I'll see some of you maybe tomorrow. I'll see you, Shayla, tomorrow, and I look forward to seeing you all next week otherwise. Okay. Good night, everybody.